Hey guys, Sundown here. This is gonna be my chapter review to One Piece 989. I can't imagine losing. Now, this chapter I enjoyed so much more than the previous chapter. For some reason, the previous chapter I wasn't feeling that drive. I wasn't feeling that seriousness. I wasn't feeling like the Straw Hats could be in danger. And to be fair, there were elements of that in this chapter as well, in the sense of, could the Straw Hats have been damaged a bit more? Could there have been more serious situations? This chapter was quite gaggy, quite loose, and quite positive in the sense of it didn't feel like there was an immense and ominous danger always approaching or anything like that. But there was something about it. It was just the way, the speed of the chapter, the movement of the chapter, things progressing so quickly. It was just very, very good for me in that sense. I really enjoyed it, and I really have very few qualms with it, but I will address the qualms that I do have. So what's the first thing that happens? Let's get right down into it. What we see is the after effects of Big Mom getting her head smacked in by Franky's, I forgot what the actual, it's called a rhino. I forgot, is it called a black rhino? I think it's called a black rhino. Something says black rhino. She's laying down on the floor. Napoleon's like, holy shit, mama. And everyone around Big Mom on Kaido's side of the crew, so on all the other gifters and stuff like that, they're all like, shit, we're getting out of here because Big Mom's going to get up. She's going to go on a rampage. She's going to be pissed. Nami's obviously there thanking Franky for being such a badass. And this scene in general was just pretty cool. We got to see Hyogoro fighting against people. And actually, one thing I want to mention, Hyogoro, later on in the chapter, he talks about how he doesn't see himself losing, or how he doesn't see their side losing with the Straw Hats on their side. You know, the typical Straw Hat effect. And I'm just like, seeing Hyogoro going in, fighting here, and then seeing him later on in the chapter saying that, I actually want to see, because I get the feeling Hyogoro is going to be one of those guys, serves as the old guard, and then at this turn of an age, as kind of Wano is once again freed and emancipated from the hold and the clutches of Kaido and Orochi, I have a feeling that Hyogoro is going to be one of those guys that gives his life for that to occur. Before that happens, and if that were to happen, I want to see Hyogoro really, really put in some work here. I don't want him to go out as just this old man. I want to see him actually, assume that title again, show us what Hyogoro the Flower could do. So I want to see more of Hyogoro. I'm actually a little bit attached to him, and I want to see that. We see Jinbei talking to Robin. He's like, hey, things have taken a turn for the worse. We need to start helping out a little bit here. So he tells her to help him out, which was all good. I didn't have any issues with that. Luffy's there saying, yeah, I knew I could count on Franky. He's doing his thing. I'm going to go head off to where Kinemon is. So once again, this chapter was a bit weird in the sense of the two main things, not even main things, the two kind of underlying things that it was focusing on were, first, Luffy transitioning across the battlefield to try and get to the hole where Kaido and the rest of the scabbards pierced through the skull of Onigashima, and where they're basically at the top right now. So it's following Luffy along his journey to get to that hole and all the commands and stuff he's giving along the way. But it's also following the fall of a number, which is something we'll see later on. So while this number is falling, we get to see everyone's reactions, everyone kind of adjusting, all that type of stuff, what they're doing in that time. But we also get to see Luffy's journey, which was quite a cool concept for a chapter. It made it really fast paced, but it also it just filled the chapter with a whole bunch of stuff going on. Luffy actually, he meets Shinobu, and Shinobu's on her way to where Momonosuke is, and Shinobu sees this weird person we know as Yamato. But Luffy's just like, oh yeah, don't worry, you can trust Yamato. And Yamato's just there behind him saying, I am Odin, I will protect you. And you see the reaction from Momonosuke and Shinobu. They're just like, no the heck you ain't. Who the hell is this guy? So I was laughing my ass off. Once again, like I was saying in the last chapter, I wasn't happy about the gag moments. But stuff like this I'm happy with, because it's not a situation where they could be dying. It's a situation where if I was there, that's pretty much what I would expect would be happening. If someone came up to me and said, I'm Odin, I'm your father, and I'm looking at them and they're a woman, and I'm just going to be like, the heck is going on? You are not my dad. So I thought that was really, really funny. Luffy continues with his journey. We see him hopping up next to this bonsai tree. And then Big Mom gets back up and she's like, oh my god, you Straw Hats keep doing this. I'm about to kick your ass. So we see once again Kaido's crew, they're all running away. And during this time, Hyogoro's talking to the other samurai. He might be talking to one of the other leaders, actually. I can't quite remember his name. I don't think we know his name. But he's talking to him saying, all right, we've been fighting all these drunks and stuff like that, but we won't get anywhere with this. We must go after, but we should be going after the Tobiropo dinosaurs. So he says they're all dinosaurs, according to Denjiro. But once again, I don't think that's a confirmation that they are all kind of ancient dinosaur types. I would assume they are, but that's not really 100% confirmation. But he wants to go after the Tobiropo. He's like, we might not be able to beat them, but any damage, any energy we can extract from them, that would be beneficial in the long run. So he wants to do more of that, which I'm happy with. Like I said, I want to see more of Hyogoro going in. We then see this scene I really, really enjoyed. Big Mom gets up. She's not damaged. She hasn't transferred or translated over into Olin. I'm really, really happy about that. But Big Mom's there saying, we meet again, Soul King. I have to say, your crew has many rare and fascinating creatures. Obviously, she's just seen Franky. And she's like, what the heck is this guy? She's seen Carrot. She's like, the heck is this guy? She's already familiar with Brook. And what I loved about this is first how blasé and how casual Brook is. He just tips his hat and he's like, yo, you have fine taste. I was like, really? Like, Brook is... The reason why I don't have an issue with Brook being so kind of gaggy in this sense, he's not even being gaggy, he's just being casual. But last chapter I would have had an issue with something like that, like if a character had been so casual with Big Mom. Except it's Brook. Brook is allowed to be this casual with Big Mom because A, he's older, he has a lot more experience. He might be tremendously weaker than Big Mom, but he has balls of steel because he's faced her before and he really has nothing to lose. What's she gonna do, kill him? He doesn't really fear Big Mom, and that's the main thing around this situation. It's like, does Franky fear Big Mom? Maybe not so much. Does Brook fear Big Mom? They're kind of stepping into that the shoes of, where the crew of the person who's going to become the king of the pirates. And that's what Franky goes on to say, which I loved. But I loved Brook's reaction here. Just like, yeah, you have fine taste. And then Franky's like, you like my metal body, Grandma? I was like, what the hell is this? This is so weird. And you see Carrot saying that she's a fascinating find too. Nami here goes back into that kind of, the weakling trio mindset of, we have to get out of here, Franky. She's an emperor. We can't fight against it. And Franky just lowers his goggles. He's like, run away from an emperor of the sea? Nah. You even trying, Nami? I loved this part. Really, really solidified this chapter for me. And it made me gain a lot more respect for Franky. I don't think we've seen him really have a lot of feats. I mean, his fight against Senor Pink was pretty cool, but it was kind of gaggy as well. It wasn't a serious moment. But this, when he points his radical beam at Big Mom and he's just like, do you want to make our captain the king of the pirates or not? He's calling out Nami for running away. He's like, no. We're not a crew who runs away no more. That's not who we are. We're strong enough to fight. We're gonna fight. And if we ain't fighting, look at who our captain is. We should be fighting anybody who our captain is willing to fight because we're part of that crew. We're gonna make him king of the pirates. I loved that. I thought Franky was spot on. And I feel like it also motivated Nami here to kind of rethink her tactics, rethink how she holds herself. We are going to be the king. We're going to be part of the crew of the king of pirates. We can't just be running and turning our backs like that. So I loved the fact that Franky said that to Nami straight up. While this is happening, it doesn't just end there. We don't just get a cool flash of a moment for Franky. He's still pointing his beam at Big Mom, and suddenly the samurai are going, what the hell is going on here? What are those monstrous things? And then we see 3 numbers pop out, all in one group. They just roll out like, yeah, what's up? And they're all drunk as shit. But these guys actually look like the numbers that I thought we would have seen when we saw the other guys, the Hachi one and the other guy. I've forgotten their names. Those guys don't really look like, what I imagined or what I perceived the numbers would look like. These guys do, and they look amazing. The one in the middle is Jackie. I'm not sure what number that relates to because the other guy is Goki, I think, on the left, and Go is 5. The guy on the right says nothing, but the guy in the middle, the number in the middle, the shortest one actually, and he's holding a club in his left hand. He's holding the Brachio tank, is it? He's holding Usopp and Chopper in his right hand. He's Jackie, I think, and I don't know what number that correlates to, like I said. But they look the part, especially the one on the left, the tallest one with the long black mane. He looks kind of like, whenever you see these yokai or anything like that drawn in old school Japanese texts or anything like that, these are the type of Oni you think of, or you see at the very least in games like Muramasa, the Demon Blade. When you travel down to like the lower hells and stuff like that, you'll see these are the type of Oni that you fight against. And I'm just like, this is what I expected to see. This is matching more of my imagination. So I'm really, really happy about that. Let me just put this wire back. What we then get is Franky kind of identifying, shit, like, he's holding on to this tank, and I know that Usopp and Chopper are in there. And actually, before we even go there are a couple things here. So first, Nami's reaction to the numbers. She sees them and she's like, oh my god, they're Oz sized. So these guys are huge. I feel like the panel that they're introduced in doesn't really reflect how large they are. They don't look too big there, but these guys are huge mother judders, and Nami is absolutely shook, but that's huge, man. Oversized. These guys are not here to play, apart from the fact that they're very drunk and might actually be here to play. And the next thing is Big Mom actually says, those are the things that Kaido brought from Punk Hazard, the failed attempts at ancient giants. So I feel like we already saw that a panel in Punk Hazard where the kids and Nami and Chopper are going through this icy corridor and they see all these frozen bodies. These look like they're Caesar's attempts at basically recreating ores or things like that. Whatever race ores is, I feel like this, once again, is Caesar's kind of impersonation or imitation, his attempt at recreating those, whether it be through actual DNA extracts or whether it be through his gigantification experiments. Maybe these guys were once human or something like that, and he's transitioned them and changed them into these numbers type organisms. I think they might be kind of not a confirmation. It might once again be hinting towards a race of Oni that existed at least at one point in time. It does seem like Caesar was carrying out experiments like that, which is interesting nonetheless, and the more Punk Hazard references we get, the better. So going back to the actual scene, Franky's just like, nah, you can't be touching my brachio tank, especially because my boys Chopper and Usopp are there. He fires his radical beam straight at this Jackie character, and then we get the beginning of the kind of falling scene for Jackie. So Jackie's now falling from this point in the chapter all the way to the end, and we get to see basically everything that everyone's doing in the meantime and what their reactions are. Now, Big Mom, I love this part again. Once it was awesome. Maybe a bit of an issue with, Big Mom, should she have been attacked like this, but I was really just hyped because I feel like Jinbei, if anyone was going to do it, it should have been Jinbei, and it was Jinbei. So everyone's shocked the laser beam has gone off. Big Mom now has Franky with his back towards her, and she's like, was the number the target that you really should have hit, Iron Man? And Franky looks back and he's like, oh shit, like I made the right choice, but now I've got a Yonko basically at my back ready to kill me. Suddenly we see Jinbei holding Big Mom's sword arm, holding her right arm, pulling her into a tricep extension almost. And he says Fishman Judo. I'm not sure if that's a mistranslation or if that's just another form he knows. He knows karate, but karate isn't really... there are a few throws in karate, but judo is much more throw based. Shoulder throws, hip throws, all that type of stuff. Whatever this translation should have been, he goes Fishman Judo and he shoulder throws Big Mom. But it's not just that. They completely disrespect Big Mom with Robin using her mille fleurs, which is, I think, mille is a million, maybe, I think, or 1,000 is one of the two. What she does is she sprouts arms all along the floor in like this, basically forming a path for Big Mom to travel. So Jinbei throws Big Mom, sends her rolling, and then Robin continues her roll all the way down and almost out. I'm not sure where she actually lands, but she lands a far away. I just thought this was first off, it was a super awesome combination between Jinbei and Robin, but also Jinbei stepped in at exactly the right moment. If he hadn't stepped in, Franky might be missing a couple of his limbs right now because Big Mom's ready to hack him off. I really like that Jinbei once again steps in at the right time, and I loved his interaction with Big Mom as well, because she says, "How dare you, Jinbei? I'll kill you for what you did to my fleet," implying that Jinbei actually mashed up her fleet to an extent. We don't know how much, how badly, but if you're facing the fishmen at sea, you're not going to be in for an easy time, no matter who you are. They are, and unless you're Whitebeard and you can control you can earthquake the ocean, stuff like that, you're going to have a difficult time. So I really thought this was awesome. And Jinbei then goes on to say, when she's threatening his life, she's saying, "I'm going to kill you and all this. I'm going to murder you in your sleep." And he just says, "I welcome the attempt." I was like, oh, this guy, bro. And we get a cool pose with Nami, with Robin, with her delphinium. Once again, that's just leading Big Mom out of scene. And we see kind of one of those Kai gate thingies where Big Mom is sent towards, and that almost looks like the gates which the Straw has entered through. So if that's the same gate, then she's been thrown quite a distance. What I also liked here is how happy Jinbei is. He's just like, oh, that worked better than I imagined. She's gonna come back pissed off, and he's really happy about this. Everyone's surprised that Jinbei, first son of the sea, is there, all that good stuff. And we see that Usopp, Chopper, obviously they were going to be fine. The actual brachio tank didn't have any damage to it, so they were going to be good. It was just a little bit of a shake-up. Franky then orders for his mecha to be formed. He's like, all right, we're gonna go straight into docking. We then go into what's kind of like the penultimate scene. Queen is just standing to attention at the same post he's been at through the last however many chapters, like 10 chapters I think. And Luffy's just stood there next to Queen, and Queen's like, what the heck? What the hell's Straw Hat doing? And he even calls out to Luffy. Luffy completely ignores him, saying, I can see the sky. Luffy's a one-track mind. He's just like, I'm going to get to where Kaido is. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Zoro rolls up, and he's just like, oh, hey, Luffy, where you going? Luffy's like, I'm going to get Kaido. He calls him Zolo. I was like, ugh. But he's like, yeah, I'm going to get Kaido. And I was like, okay. And all the while, Queen is still being ignored. So, once again, this is one of those situations where I was like, maybe I can have a qualm with this in the sense of Queen, a Yonko commander, is being ignored. This is the equivalent of like someone like Katakuri being ignored. That's not someone who Luffy would or Zoro would see and just be like, meh, we're just going to pretend this guy isn't here. That's a situation where you could die if you ignored that person. But with Queen's personality, his high energy, high octane, kind of, very gag type, he doesn't take himself very seriously at all. With that type of character, I felt like this is such a funny scene because Queen's just there reacting, I feel, the same way that any fan would react. Me, you guys, if we were in that situation. If we were Queen and we saw this, we'd be like, hey, what the hell is Luffy doing here? And then Zoro pops up and, hey, what the hell are you doing here? And then they both decide to fly towards the ceiling. I'd be like, what the hell is going on? Wait a second. So I really like Queen's reaction here. But I also like the fact that he wasn't given the smoothie treatment. He didn't just see them go through the roof and like, oh, well, I can't do anything about that. They try to get through the roof. Zoro sees the numbers. He's like, what the hell are those things? And instead of letting them go, Queen actually assumes his Brachiosaurus form. I think it was Brachiosaurus anyway. Very, very quickly. It was a very fast transformation. He grabs both Luffy and Zoro in his mouth. And what we even get here is, even if Queen had missed, we see King in his Pteranodon form, and we see all these other members of Kaido's crew, the Beast Pirates, in there using their Smile Devil Fruits, and they all have flying types. They're all guarding this hole towards Kaido. Luffy and Zoro both recognize this. They get spat down back towards where the number is falling, and Jackie hits the ground probably around the same time as Luffy and Zoro. So that's going to be one of the main plot points moving forward. Both King and Queen are protecting this hole at the top where Jack is, where Kaido is. And Luffy and the rest of the crew are going to have to bust through that hole and bust through Queen and King in order to get there really. What we then get is Sanji wondering whether Momonosuke is okay. He is. And Sanji's completely fine. He's talking about how he's annoyed by how sturdy his suit is. Now, I'm not sure exactly why he'd be annoyed about this. Is it more of a pride thing? Like, I can't believe I had to depend on this Germa suit. Something that I really don't want to be affiliated with. I had to rely on it to save my life. It's more sturdy than I am without it. It could be a whole bunch of different things relating to his pride, relating to his history, rather than the actual sturdiness of the suit. I don't think he has an issue with the suit per se, but rather what it stands for and what he stands for, and the fact that it might actually be more sturdy than him. But I like the fact that, once again, we saw Sanji getting his leg damaged by Virgo. We saw that he was struggling to contain the attacks of Doflamingo. If he has become more sturdy as a result of this suit, I'm all for it, and I want to see more of that, because I want to see Sanji get some serious W's this coming arc, or the remaining part of this arc. We then get that nice little bit with Hyogoro where he sees, and the samurai is saying, Chopper, he has used himself as bait. Now one of the numbers is falling to the ground. So has Luffy. They're saying they're surrounded by enemies, and Hyogoro's like, but I don't imagine, and I can't imagine us losing. So I thought that was awesome. Once again, the Straw Hat effect. And then we get a beautiful double panel at the end, double page, where we see all the Straw Hats, all 10 of them now, with Franky and his mecha in the back. We got Nami all the way left, Sanji towards second from the left, Brook, Jinbei, Luffy at the front, obviously Chopper, Robin, Zoro, and then Usopp on the far right. And what I liked here is they all look focused as shit. None of them looks afraid. None of them looks like they can't handle their job. Nami looks like she's ready to kick some ass. I was so ready for this. Everyone looks like they're ready to fight the crew of a Yonko, and this is what I wanted to see more of. Jinbei's there, serious as shit. This is what I wanted to see. So Luffy tells everyone, the samurai as well, he's like, I'm gonna go up and take out Kaido. You guys handle the rest. Watch my back. Everyone's like, getting hyped up as shit, while King and Queen look down with the numbers, and they're just like, shit, we got our hands full with this. All the while, we don't know where Law and Kid are, and we don't know where the Tobiropo are. So, once again, like I said, this was an amazing chapter. Callbacks to Punk Hazard. We got to see so many different things going on. We got to see Yamato being introduced to Shinobu and Momonosuke. We got to see Jinbei going in. We got to see Franky going in, who was MVP of this chapter, no doubt. and we got to see Brooke kind of trolling Big Mom once again. So I was all for it. Franky MVP. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in a bit.